In the villa area, when Lin Feng gently grabbed Shang Yuntao like he was grabbing an insect, everyone was dumbfounded. The entire villa area fell silent. Even the most ignorant person knew that Shang Yuntao's strength was extraordinary. That terrifying saber could almost affect an area of several kilometers. It was definitely not something an ordinary martial artist could do. It could only be someone in the divine realm. But now, a dignified divine realm martial artist had actually been captured by Lin Feng just like that, without any ability to resist. How strong must Lin Feng be? Even martial artists knew that the divine realm was far stronger than ordinary metamorphic realm martial artists. Not long ago, Lin Feng's performance in the global martial arts competition was astonishing, but he was only a metamorphic realm martial artist. Yet now, he could easily defeat a divine realm martial artist. Since when did martial arts cultivation become so easy? Shang Yuntao, have you gone insane? Stop. Suddenly, a figure flew over from afar. Before he could see the situation clearly, he was already shouting. Swoosh! Xianxia rushed over. He had not even seen the situation clearly, but he felt that something was amiss. Where had that imposing stellar blade gone? Even the astral power seemed to have dissipated. Countless eyes were focused on him. Huh? Shang Yuntao. Only then did Xianxia realize that Shang Yuntao, who he had rushed over to stop in exasperation, had been captured by a terrifying giant. As for the giant, he looked a little familiar, and there was no sign of astral power erupting from his body. Lin Feng. Suddenly, Xianxia remembered. Wasn't this Lin Feng? But when did Lin Feng become a giant? You're the legate of Central Sea City, Xianxia? Lin Feng's voice was thunderous. The moment he saw the aura emitted by Xianxia, he knew that Xianxia was a divine realm martial artist. The legate was the only divine realm martial artist in Central Sea City. Lin Feng could naturally guess his identity. I'm Xianxia. Although the scene was a little chaotic, no one was injured, and no one had died. Hence, Xianxia heaved a sigh of relief. If someone died and caused widespread damage as the legate, he would be accountable. However, Xianxia had seen the terrifying stellar blade condensed by Shang Yuntao with his own eyes just now. Shang Yuntao's strength was above his, which showed just how terrifying Shang Yuntao was. This was why Xianxia was so anxious. But now, Shang Yuntao kept struggling in Lin Feng's hands, yet could not break free from Lin Feng's restraint at all. Just how strong was Lin Feng now? Even if Lin Feng had reached the divine realm, it was impossible for him to become so powerful, right? Xianxia drew a deep breath. He had to make a stand. At this moment, many more metamorphic realm martial artists arrived. They were all members of the law enforcement team. When they saw the scene before them, they were also dumbfounded. Just Lin Feng's terrifying size alone was extremely oppressive, let alone the fact that Lin Feng was holding the dignified peak divine realm martial artist, Shang Yuntao. What was going on? Even the law enforcement team was confused. All of you go around and maintain order. Do not allow any chaos. Xianxia swept his gaze across the crowd below and naturally saw Zhao Dongsheng in the crowd. Zhao Dongsheng. Hearing Xianxia call his name, Zhao Dongsheng's heart skipped a beat. However, he could not just pretend he didn't notice at this moment. He could only brace himself and walk out. Zhao Dongsheng, what's going on? Xianxia said in a low voice. This matter had blown up so much that someone had to take responsibility. Zhao Dongsheng glanced at Lin Feng and Shang Yuntao in Lin Feng's hand. His expression was a little complicated, but he still said, Lord Legate, this matter all happened because of me. There are some misunderstandings between Lord Shang Yuntao and Lin Feng. Misunderstanding? Lin Feng sneered. Seeing Lin Feng's expression, how could Xianxia not know that Zhao Dongsheng was avoiding the main point? Hence, he shouted, Zhao Dongsheng, report everything in detail. Yes, Lord Legate. Zhao Dongsheng was caught between a rock and a hard place. It was impossible for him to distort the truth with so many people here. He could only give a brief account of what happened from the beginning. However, he was also avoiding the important parts and focusing on the trivial parts. He only explained that this was a misunderstanding between Shang Yuntao and Lin Feng, and did not mention his own responsibility at all. Is that so? Lin Feng laughed coldly. His gaze was sharp as a blade as he stared intently at Zhao Dongsheng, before saying, Zhao Dongsheng, you invited Shang Yuntao to threaten the Lin family with his authority. You turned a blind eye when Shang Yuntao attacked me. Do you know what you are guilty of as a member of the law enforcement team? And Shang Yuntao, you violated the ban and attacked with all your might in the city, causing chaos. According to the regulations, the law enforcement team has the right to arrest you. Zhao Dongsheng wanted to defend himself, but under Shen Jianxin's cold gaze, he did not dare to say anything. As for Shang Yuntao, his face was also dark. He naturally knew that his actions just now were a huge mistake, but fortunately, he did not cause much damage. Otherwise, it would be difficult to make up for it. Lin Feng, you're not a member of the law enforcement team. What right do you have to arrest me? Going by the regulations, you fought just now too. Shen Jianxin, as the legate of Central Sea City, you should do your duty. You can arrest me, but shouldn't Lin Feng be arrested too? Shang Yuntao sneered. Legate. Am I qualified to enforce the law? Lin Feng's faint smile confused everyone. Everyone knew that only the law enforcement team could enforce the law in the city. Lin Feng was not a member of the law enforcement team, so how could he enforce the law? This would put Shen Jianxin in a difficult position. According to the regulations, no matter what the reason was, if the two parties fought in the city, both of them were captured. As for right and wrong, that was the business of the martial artist court, not the law enforcement team. The law enforcement team only had the right to enforce the law, and did not have the right to judge. Zhao Dongxing's eyes lit up as well. Originally, he was very shocked that Lin Feng could defeat Shang Yuntao. Once Lin Feng dealt with Shang Yuntao, how would he be able to maintain his foothold in Central Sea City? Hence, he could take this opportunity to get Shen Jianxin to capture Lin Feng as well. Hence, Zhao Dongsheng hurriedly said, Lord Legate, Lin Feng and Shang Yuntao fought in the city. No matter who was right or wrong, according to the regulations, they must be arrested first, and then handed over to the martial artist court for trial. Shen Jianxin glanced coldly at Zhao Dongsheng, but with the look one would give an idiot. If Zhao Dongxing knew Lin Feng's identity, would he still be so excited? Then, Shen Jianxin took a deep breath and said loudly, Of course Brother Lin has the right to enforce the law. Why aren't you paying your respects to the new legate, Brother Lin Feng? Shen Jianxin berated the law enforcement team members behind him, but everyone was stunned. Lin Feng was the new legate of Central Sea City? How is this possible? He's the new legate. In an instant, Zhao Dongxing's face turned pale. He staggered back a step, feeling as if all the strength in his body had been drained. There was a hint of despair in his eyes. The new legate? Even Shang Yuntao's expression changed. If Lin Feng was the legate of Central Sea City, he would really be in big trouble. Considering what he had just done, although he would not be sentenced to death, he would at least have to guard the front line for more than 20 years. 20 years was a long time even for a divine realm martial artist. That's right. Lin Feng is the new legate of Central Sea City. I've already received the order from above. Hearing Shen Jianxin confirm it again, everyone's expressions changed. The term of legate was at least 3 years. In other words, Lin Feng could stay in Central Sea City for at least 3 years. As long as Lin Feng was alive, the Lin family would be the top family in Central Sea City, and enter the top tier from then on. All of this was because Lin Feng alone had changed the fate of the entire Lin family. This was the influence of martial artists, especially under the new policy for martial artists, which made the influence of martial artists even greater. The surrounding ordinary people stared at Lin Feng enviously. They knew the Lin family and even Lin Feng very well. After all, they had been neighbors for so many years. Lin Feng had made such accomplishments in only a year. It was almost like a dream. However, perhaps the path of martial arts was just that incredible. Hence, some people even secretly made up their minds to make all the young people in the family practice martial arts. What if someone with talent comparable to Lin Feng appeared? That would be the fortune of the family. Lin Feng did not know that his appearance had affected the thoughts of so many ordinary people. Where are the law enforcement team members? Lord Legate, what are your orders? Arrest Zhao Dongsheng. Zhao Dongsheng's face turned pale. There was no need for Lin Feng to make a move himself. Those law enforcement team members immediately captured Zhao Dongsheng. Zhao Dongsheng knew the law and broke it. If he was sent to the martial artist court, his outcome would probably not be much better than Shang Yuntao's. Although he could not possibly be executed, if he was sent to the front line for 10 or 20 years without even leave, how could the Zhao family maintain itself? Moreover, Lin Feng was prepared to take down the Zhao family in one fell swoop this time. Arresting Zhao Dongsheng was just the beginning. Brother Shin, I'll leave Shang Yuntao to you for now. You should escort him to the martial artist court. Brother Lin, when are you going to handle the handover? In a few days. There's no rush. Lin Feng shrunk his body and handed Shang Yuntao over to Shin Jianxin. Now that the astral power in Shang Yuntao's body had been depleted from the eruption, it was a piece of cake for Shin Jianxin to control him. As for whether Shin Jianxin and Zhao Dongsheng could escape, Lin Feng really did not mind them escaping. If they were stupid, they could run all they liked. Then, Lin Feng would have a legitimate reason to kill the two of them. Shin Jianxin nodded and waved his hand. Take him away. He exchanged a few pleasantries with Lin Feng and did not bother Lin Feng anymore. He ordered men to take Shang Yuntao and Zhao Dongsheng away directly. Brother, you were so impressive just now. After Shin Jianxin and the others left, Lin Qian immediately came to Lin Feng's side. She was just an ordinary person. Although she also practiced martial arts, she was only a hobbyist who did it to strengthen her body, and could not be considered a professional martial artist at all. Hence, it was hard for her to imagine how Lin Feng had transformed into a giant dozens of meters tall, or how he had shrunk to his normal size. Little sister, if you practice martial arts in the future, you might even be able to break the genetic lock. Lin Feng was not joking. He really planned to let his little sister, Lin Qian, practice martial arts when he returned this time. With Lin Feng's various resources, even if he just accumulated resources, he could still push his little sister above a grade 9 professional. However, whether Lin Qian could break the genetic lock depended on herself. Lin Feng could not help either. Brother, Zhao Ping and the others have left. At this moment, Lin Qian said through gritted teeth. She hated Zhao Ping to the bone. Lin Feng's eyes narrowed slightly. Of course he saw Zhao Ping and Zhao Beixing leave, but he did not stop them. In his eyes, these two people were already dead. Don't worry, sister. They won't live for long. A vicious glint flashed across Lin Feng's eyes. In the Zhao family, Zhao Ping and Zhao Beixing were like cats on hot bricks. They were panicking, but there was nothing they could do. Zhao Dongsheng was the foundation of the Zhao family. Once Zhao Dongsheng went down, the Zhao family would fall apart. Dad, how's uncle? Zhao Ping's lips were trembling slightly. He was really afraid. His uncle, Zhao Dongsheng, had been captured by the law enforcement team and had to go to the martial artist court. In his eyes, it was almost like the sky was collapsing. He knew very well what he had done over the years. Without his uncle's influence, how could he have lived so indulgently? Zhao Beixing's face was dark as he said coldly, "Your uncle got someone to send a message to us. Retreat. Our Zhao family will give up everything and leave Central Sea immediately. We lost this time. We lost everything." Zhao Beixing felt a little pained. The East Sea Corporation was everything he had. He had put a lot of effort into it. He was really unwilling to give up just like that. Zhao Ping was also stunned. He did not expect the matter to be so serious. Dad, without the East Sea Corporation, what are we supposed to survive on in the future? Dad, we didn't do anything. Even if Lin Feng is the legate, he wouldn't dare to kill us directly, right? Zhao Ping was not willing to leave just like that either. If he did, he would not be able to live the comfortable life of a playboy. Idiot! Don't you know what you've done over all these years? Lin Feng is now the legate, and your uncle has been captured. Our Zhao family is finished. Your uncle is right. Leave immediately. As long as there's life, there's hope. Lin Feng is indeed showing his edge now and has a strong momentum. But who knows what will happen in the future. Perhaps one day, he will die at the hands of those dire beasts at the front line. Then, it will be time for us to return to Central Sea. Zhao Beixing was also an ambitious businessman. No matter how unwilling and reluctant he was, he knew that they must leave now. Dad, is there any other way? I don't want to leave. Bang, bang, bang. Before he could finish speaking, there was a sound at the Zhao family's door. Zhao Beixing opened the door and realized that they were fully armed police officers. These police officers surged in, immediately surrounding the two of them. What are you doing? Zhao Beixing berated sternly. The leading police officer immediately took out an arrest warrant and said, Zhao Beixing, Zhao Ping, this is the arrest warrant. Your crimes have been uncovered. Come with us. Looking at the fully armed police officers, Zhao Beixing and Zhao Ping's faces went pale at once. Dad, save me? Zhao Ping wailed at the top of his lungs, but Zhao Beixing was motionless, as if he did not hear it. He did not argue and was slowly escorted out of the house by the police, only stopping at the door to look back once more at the Zhao family's villa behind him. He understood that he would probably never return this time. The Zhao family was completely done for. Dad, the Zhao family is finished. Lin Yong strode in, his face filled with excitement. It had been 6 days since Lin Feng fought Shang Yuntao. During these 6 days, the entire upper class of Central Sea City learned about the incident. From then on, the Lin family truly entered the upper class of Central Sea City. Mr. Lin glanced at Lin Feng, who was sitting on the sofa, and only nodded slightly. In reality, he had long known that this would be the outcome. Lin Feng had already become the legate. Even Zhao Dongsheng had been captured and sent to the martial artist court. With a word from Lin Feng, the Zhao family would be finished. After all, the Zhao family did not have a clean background either. Lin Yong, on the other hand, seemed to be holding back his emotions. In the past, when he was in charge of the Lin Corporation, he had suffered a lot due to the Zhao family. Now that he saw the Zhao family's outcome, he was naturally very excited. Dad, the Zhao family is really finished this time. Zhao Ping was sentenced to death, and Zhao Beixing was sentenced to life imprisonment. The East Sea Corporation is already in chaos, but the other factions haven't rushed forward to divide it. It's a little strange. Lin Yong did find it very strange. According to his experience in the business world, shouldn't everyone kick someone when they're down? The other factions had seen how profitable the East Sea Corporation was. It should be impossible for them to not take action. But now everything was calm. Could the Zhao family still have some trump card? Mr. Lin shook his head. He was very satisfied with Lin Yong. Lin Yong was the most suitable person to take over the Lin Corporation. However, Lin Yong had always been a businessman, and his perception could not break out of that of a businessman. Lin Yong, do you think they don't want to go up? That's because they don't dare to. It's because the East Sea Corporation are the spoils they left for our Lin family. Mr. Lin's words enlightened Lin Yong. That's right. With Lin Feng around, who caused the collapse of the Zhao family, the father and son of the Zhao family would both be jailed. If the Zhao family was finished, how long could the East Sea Corporation hold out? The reason why it had not collapsed was that they wanted to leave it for the Lin family. I see. Lin Feng, it's all thanks to you this time. I'll immediately organize the legal department to begin negotiations on the acquisition of the East Sea Corporation. Okay. Go ahead and do your work. Lin Yong left in a hurry. He was in charge of the Lin Corporation and did not have any free time every day. Dad, Big Brother doesn't actually have to work so hard. Lin Feng frowned and said. However, Mr. Lin shook his head and said, everyone has their own value. A person works hard in order to realize their own value. If you don't allow your big brother to work so hard, what hope is there if he just stays at home all day? Everyone needs their own vision and hope in life. To you, martial arts is your vision. To your big brother, the corporation is his vision. It has nothing to do with status or identity. Lin Feng was deep in thought. He looked up and said with a smile, Dad, I understand. Actually, Mr. Lin was giving Lin Feng some pointers. Perhaps in terms of martial arts, Lin Feng was already a genius among geniuses and could not do better. However, Mr. Lin felt that he could still give Lin Feng some advice on life experiences. Everyone had their own way of life. Lin Feng was a powerful martial artist, and this was enough for the Lin family. As for their eldest brother, second brother, little sister Lin Qian, and even their parents, they each had things they pursued. There was no need to force things. This was also why the second son, Lin Hai, had always been in the army and might carry out dangerous missions, but Mr. Lin still did not ask Lin Hai to return. Lin Hai was already a soldier. That was not only Lin Hai's identity, but also his vision. By the way, Dad, second brother can at least visit home sometime, right? Yes. I didn't manage to reach him yesterday. He's probably on some secret mission again. He'll contact me when he's free. When the time comes, I'll ask him to return for a family reunion. Beep beep. At this moment, Mr. Lin's communicator rang. Brother Shin, all right, today it is. I'll come to your law enforcement team to settle the handover later. Lin Feng hung up the communicator and shook his head helplessly. Dad, Shin Jianxin can't wait anymore. He's already urged me a few times. That's just as well. In any case, I'm the legate of Central Sea City and won't leave for 3 years. I'll go settle the handover procedures today. All right, go ahead. Lin Feng stood up and left the villa. When he boarded the airship outside the villa, he felt as if someone was spying on him. However, he scanned his surroundings with his mental power and did not find anyone. Did I imagine it? Lin Feng frowned slightly and walked into the airship. Soon, the airship took off and flew towards the law enforcement team's building. Not long after Lin Feng's spaceship left, in a building in the distance, a man in a black robe stared at the screen. The screen was displaying the scene outside the Lin family's villa. The target has left the Lin family and is heading for the law enforcement building in Central Sea City. One by one, information was continuously collated before being delivered. If Lin Feng were here, he would definitely be shocked. This was because among these there was actually information about him since he was young, including the strange illness he was afflicted with, and his matters when attending Central Sea University. After that, there was information on Lin Feng going to the Myriad Academy, the Dragon Mountain Base, the South Mountain Base, the Global Martial Arts Competition, and so on. All the information was gathered in detail. Even the secret base he went to with Sage Kong and the others went to was recorded. It had to be known that the base that Sage Kong and Sage Yuani brought Lin Feng to was top secret. Judging from the battle between Lin Feng and Shang Yuntao, the probability of Lin Feng obtaining an ancient civilization's legacy is more than 90%. This legacy does not seem to cultivate astral power and specializes on cultivating the physical body. Moreover, it's especially powerful. It can easily defeat divine realm martial artists with 2 life transitions. It appears to be in the metadivine tier of strength. It is advisable for at least 3 metadivine realm experts to join forces before launching an attack. To be safe, at least 5 metadivine realm experts are required. After the message was sent, the man in the black robe waited quietly. Continue to observe. Do not launch an attack in the city. If he shows any signs of leaving the city, report immediately. After receiving the message, a strange smile appeared on the black-robed man's lips. The airship landed in front of the law enforcement team's building. Shin Jianxin had long brought many law enforcement team members to welcome them. Brother Lin, you're finally here. Shin Jianxin laughed loudly. Brother Shin, why are you in such a hurry to leave as the legate? Lin Feng found it strange. Logically speaking, the legate was a wonderful job. It's desirable to stay as long as possible. Shin Jianxin, on the other hand, kept urging Lin Feng to come and complete the handover procedures. It was as if he wished he could leave immediately. Brother Lin, you might not know this, but I've been transferred to the Moro Mountain base this time. A war will break out there soon. Haha, there are a few metadivine realm experts commanding there. The sooner I arrive at the Moro Mountain base, the sooner I can make preparations and earn more merit value. Perhaps I can also obtain the Hero of Humanity medal like Brother Lin. Lin Feng came to a realization. No wonder Shin Jianxin was so eager to hand over the position. It turned out that he was in a hurry to earn merit. All right, then, I wish Brother Shin success. Haha. Thank you for your kind words, Brother Lin. I've already prepared the handover procedures. You just need to go up and confirm it. Hence, Shin Jianxin led Lin Feng into the building. Beep. After the procedures were completed, the higher-ups also confirmed it. From today onwards, Lin Feng officially became the legate of Central Sea City for a 3-year term. Shin Jianxin looked at everything in the office and sighed. Brother Lin, having been here for 3 years, I'm a little reluctant to actually leave. Lin Feng nodded. 3 years was actually quite a long time, especially since he had only used a year to undergo a tremendous change in his body. He was practically a living legend. Then Brother Shin can stay for a few days before leaving. Haha, there's no need for that. Since the procedures have been completed, I'll set off immediately. I'll leave the Central Sea City in your hands in the future. With that, Shin Jianxin turned around and left resolutely. No matter how reluctant he was, he had to leave. Lin Feng sat in his office and gathered all the law enforcement team members. Originally, there were 23 metamorphic realm martial artists in the law enforcement team of Central Sea City. However, without Zhao Dongsheng, there were only 22 left. Among them, there were 13 third-level metamorphic realm martial artists, which made up the majority. The remaining were all first-level and second-level metamorphic realm martial artists. After all, the law enforcement team had to deal with martial artists who had broken the genetic lock and needed to capture them. Hence, all of the team were quite strong. These 22 people were divided into 4 squads, with an average of 6 people per squad. However, there used to be 24 people before there was 1 less. Dongsheng was gone as well, only 22 people were left. Hence, 2 of the squads only had 5 people now. The 4 third-level metamorphic realm martial artists standing before Lin Feng were the leaders of the 4 squads. Lin Feng saw that these law enforcement team members were a little nervous. After all, he was a distinguished divine realm expert, and he had defeated Shang Yuntao so brutally previously. It was impossible for these people not to be nervous. Everyone, there's no need to be nervous. We can keep up how it was like when Brother Shin was here. I'm just meeting everyone today to get acquainted. Everyone, you can leave first. The 4 captains will stay behind. Lin Feng left the 4 captains behind. They could be considered his direct subordinates. You are usually in charge of the law enforcement team's work. I won't interfere unnecessarily. This put the 4 of them at ease. Besides, Lin Feng did not come to be the legate to make a grand undertaking. Hence, there was no need to cling to authority at all. Moreover, how much authority could a mere law enforcement team have? Tell me, how are Shang Yuntao and Zhao Dongsheng? Among the 4 captains, Captain Wei took a step forward and said, Lord Legate, Shang Yuntao and Zhao Dongsheng were both taken away by the people from the martial artist court. Shang Yuntao was sentenced to guard the front line for 20 years, and Zhao Dongsheng was sentenced to guard the front line for 15 years. I understand. All of you can leave. Soon, Lin Feng was the only one left in the office. Back then, Zhao Dongxing alone had suppressed the Lin family to the point of suffocation. If not for his second brother, Lin Hai, inviting General Long over, there was no knowing how the Zhao family would continue to deal with the Lin family. And now, only a year had passed, but there had already been a sea change. With a word from Lin Feng, the Zhao family was completely finished. Zhao Dongsheng was sentenced to guard the front line and could not leave for 15 years. Lin Feng actually no longer saw Zhao Dongsheng as a threat. Never mind whether Zhao Dongsheng lucky enough to survive these 15 years, so what if he did? 15 years later, how powerful would Lin Feng become? 3 life transitions or 4 life transitions? When the gap reached a certain level, Zhao Dongsheng would despair even if he wanted to take revenge. Hence, the matter with the Zhao family was over. Lin Feng would no longer pay attention to Zhao Dongsheng. On the other hand, Shang Yuntao was a divine realm martial artist. It was actually not difficult for him to survive for 20 years. If he was lucky enough to undergo the 3rd life transition at the front line and become a metadivine realm martial artist, he would be a threat. But that was all. If Lin Feng were still in the divine realm or the metadivine realm, Shang Yuntao might still harbor resentment. However, what if Lin Feng underwent 4 life transitions and became a sage? Or even stronger than a sage? At that time, Shang Yuntao probably wouldn't even hold a trace of resentment. When the difference was unimaginable, even if one held resentment, they would conceal it deep down and not dare to reveal it. There was an endless stream of people coming and going outside the window. Lin Feng stood in front of the window and looked down. Unknowingly, Lin Feng had already become the upper echelons of humanity, high and mighty. People or things that seemed unreachable in the past were now easily reachable to him. Lin Feng even vaguely lost the motivation to strive. He looked up at the void. There was a canopy there, and beyond the canopy was the cosmos. According to Longbetham, the cosmos was cold and cruel, but it was also an incomparably wonderful place. Beep beep beep. Just as Lin Feng was lamenting, his communicator suddenly rang urgently. He picked up the communicator and connected immediately. Dad, what is it? Lin Feng, quick, come back. Your second brother. Thud. Lin Feng hung up and immediately went downstairs to rush home on the airship. In the Lin family's living room, Mr. and Mrs. Lin, Lin Yong, and Lin Qian were all gathered. Apart from the Lin family, there were 5 soldiers. They held a posthumous portrait in their hands with solemn expressions. Mr. Lin reached out with shaking hands to take the portrait. His lips were trembling, and he could not say anything. Tears were already streaming down his face. Mrs. Lin's voice was hoarse from crying. Lin Yong's eyes were also bloodshot, and the veins on his arms bulged violently, as if he was trying his best to restrain himself. Even Lin Qian's face was pale. She looked at the portrait in heavy grief. Uncle, Auntie, please restrain your grief. There were 5 soldiers. Judging from their ranks, there were 4 majors and 1 general. Among them, the general was even General Long, whom the Lin family knew. However, at this moment, General Long's eyes were also dim and filled with regret. This was his second time coming to the Lin family. The first time, he was here to help the Lin family resolve their troubles, but he did not expect to come to the Lin family in such a manner the second time. General Long, how did this happen to Lin Hai? Mr. Lin's voice shook. No matter how strong a person was, they could not control themselves when faced with such a situation. Bang! Before General Long could answer, the door was suddenly pushed open at this moment. Swoosh! Lin Feng stood at the door. He saw 5 unfamiliar soldiers at a glance. In particular, there was a posthumous portrait on the table. Lin Feng. General Long naturally knew Lin Feng. He had not investigated before, so he did not know that Lin Feng had returned. The last time General Long visited Lin Feng was still sickly and suffering from a strange illness. Later on, Lin Feng rose to power and even obtained first place in the global martial arts competition. However, one would not feel it just looking at reports and videos. But now, seeing Lin Feng in person, General Long suddenly felt a sense of oppression. That's right, oppression. Lin Feng's body emitted a terrifying aura that made even he feel as if he was about to suffocate. Was this still a metamorphic realm martial artist? Even a divine realm martial artist probably did not have such a terrifying aura. Step by step, Lin Feng entered the room slowly, his gaze fixed on the portrait on the table. His second brother, Lin Hai. Lin Feng almost could not believe this grievous news. How could his second brother die just like that? Lin Feng's family had always been the Achilles heel that no one was allowed to touch. Plagued by a strange illness since he was young, his family cared deeply for him. Even his second brother Lin Hai, whom he rarely saw, would bring some things back for him from the army. But now his second brother was dead? How did second brother die? Lin Feng showed no sadness at all. In fact, his expression was very cold. However, it was this coldness that seemed to chill the room immensely. Even General Long could not help but feel intimidated. However, under Lin Feng's cold gaze, he nonetheless gritted his teeth and said in a low voice, Lin Hai was killed in action when carrying out a special mission. What mission? I'm sorry, but Lin Hai was carrying out a highly confidential mission. Please forgive me for not being able to disclose it. Even though General Long also felt immense pressure, he still resisted it. Such a confidential mission could never be revealed to anyone. Bang! Lin Feng threw a lightning-quick punch. Before anyone could react, General Long was sent flying. This was the result of Lin Feng showing restraint. Otherwise, even if Lin Feng had not used his combat body with his current physique, he was far from what a mere metamorphic realm martial artist could resist. Swoosh! The 4 soldiers brought by General Long immediately stood in front of Lin Feng and berated loudly, "Lin Feng, what are you trying to do? Get lost!" The mental power sphere in Lin Feng's mind erupted violently, and terrifying mental power swept out like a storm. The 4 soldiers trembled as if they were facing a horrifying dire beast. This was a mental storm. Lin Feng's mental power was not strong yet, so it could only affect ordinary people who had not broken the genetic lock. However, if it were stronger, it would even be able to affect those metamorphic realm martial artists. The 4 soldiers' bodies stiffened, and they even forgot to stop him. Lin Feng walked straight to General Long and grabbed him. He asked coldly, "What mission was my second brother on?" "Lin Feng, calm down. Lin Hai was carrying out a secret mission. I'm also very pained by his death, but there's nothing I can do." Bang! Before he could finish speaking, Lin Feng threw General Long to the ground. General Long could not resist Lin Feng at all. "What mission was second brother on?" Lin Feng asked again and again. His tone was as cold as ice, and even vaguely revealed killing intent. General Long had a feeling that if he did not answer today, Lin Feng would really dare to kill him. When had Lin Feng become so terrifying? However, General Long was a soldier. He would never speak under threat. Lin Feng, Lin Hai was carrying out a confidential mission. Moreover, he volunteered for the mission. Therefore, I cannot tell you the truth. Lin Feng's eyes narrowed slightly. Fury and even killing intent were indeed brewing in his heart. At this moment, his killing intent was boiling, as if nothing could stop him. "Lin Feng, what are you doing?" Mr. Lin finally reacted and immediately shouted. Lin Feng took a long look at General Long on the ground, then closed his eyes slightly. "General Long, I'm sorry, but even if second brother is dead, we can't just brush it over like this. I'll find his corpse and bring him back for burial." With that, Lin Feng turned around. "Lin Feng, how are you going to bring back Lin Hai's corpse when you don't know anything? Moreover, that place is very dangerous. Forget about you, even divine realm martial artists have little chance of survival there." General Long shouted from behind Lin Feng. He actually did not blame Lin Feng. Back when the Lin family handed Lin Hai over to him, he had devoted himself to nurturing Lin Hai. But now, Lin Hai was dead, yet he was still alive. Sometimes, thinking about it, perhaps this was the greatest injustice. However, Lin Feng did not stop. Instead, he walked straight into the airship. The airship quickly took off and disappeared into the horizon. Cough! General Long coughed lightly. Lin Feng's attacks just now were really ruthless. Moreover, the astral power in his body was actually completely useless. "General Long, what mission exactly was Lin Hai on?" Mr. Lin was also in tears. "I'm sorry, I can't say. Hurry up and ask Lin Feng to come back. That place is really too dangerous. We won't be able to make him come back. No one can stop Lin Feng once he's set his mind on something." Mr. Lin shook his head. "I wonder where he's going? Lin Hai was on a confidential mission. He won't be able to find it." "General Long, that's not necessarily the case. You probably don't know this, right? Lin Feng has already reached the divine realm and is now the legate of Central Sea City. Perhaps he really has some way to investigate the mission carried out by Lin Hai." "What? He became a divine realm martial artist, and a legate at that?" General Long's expression changed abruptly. He had rushed over to Central Sea this time, and really had not investigated the Lin family's situation. He had thought that Lin Feng was still a genius martial artist from the global martial arts competition. Unexpectedly, the genius martial artist from back then had already become a true expert, a legate who presided over a region. Perhaps with Lin Feng's network, he might really be able to investigate Lin Hai's situation. However, anyone who went to that place now would die. No, Lin Hai is already dead. Lin Feng must stay safe no matter what. Otherwise, I'll be letting Lin Hai down. General Long immediately bade farewell to the Lin family and left in a hurry. In the airship, Lin Feng's expression was ice-cold. At this moment, all the contentment, leisure, and beauty had disappeared. His heart was churning incessantly like a volcanic eruption. Even Lin Feng himself could not control his killing intent. His family was his Achilles' heel. Now, his second brother was dead, and he had died without a whole body. His corpse had not even been found. Lin Feng could not tolerate this. No matter what, he had to bring his second brother home, even if only his corpse was left. Although General Long refused to tell what mission second brother Lin Hai was carrying out and where he had encountered danger, Lin Feng had his own ways. Long Betham, help me to locate second brother's communicator. Lin Feng said coldly. No matter what mission it was, he must have brought his communicator with him. Even if he did not bring his communicator, Lin Feng would definitely be able to find his second brother Lin Hai's camp with it. Then, he would not be far from finding his second brother. Lin Feng, your second brother's communicator signal disappeared a long time ago, but I found the last coordinates before your second brother's signal disappeared. Long Betham sent the coordinates to Lin Feng, who input them directly into the control room of the airship. Second brother, I'll bring you home, Lin Feng muttered softly. His expression did not relax, and his gaze became even colder, like a dormant volcano that could erupt at any moment. Beep. In the dark room, the black-robed man, who was paying close attention to Lin Feng's movements, sent a message. Target has left Central Sea City in an airship. After the message was sent, the room fell silent again. Tall mountain ranges filled the outland, and there was no trace of human activity. Suddenly, 5 airships approached from afar and gradually arrived above Ox Head Mountain. The Ox Head Mountain was shaped like an ox's head, hence its name. In the past, martial artists had once fought a brutal war here and defeated a type of dire beast predator. That war back then was extremely ruthless. Apart from the sages, who were not involved, some of the other metadivine realm and divine realm martial artists died in battle before those predators were finally defeated. From then on, although Ox Head Mountain was also deep in the outland, there were not many dire beasts left. The human territory advanced by more than 1,000 kilometers. Although the Ox Head Mountain had a special significance, this place had yet to be developed by humans. It was uninhabited, and there were still large open areas below, giving it a slightly desolate appearance. The 5 airships flew above Ox Head Mountain and landed. The cabin door of the airship opened, and 5 mysterious people in black robes and masks walked out. Number 131. One of the mysterious men in black robes said. His voice was obviously disguised and a little hoarse. It sounded very old, but no one could be certain of his age. Number 145. Number 294. Number 483. Number 516. The 5 mysterious people in black robes all reported their enigmatic numbers. Their voices were all disguised, and even their gender was difficult to distinguish. The 5 of them gathered together gave off a bizarre air. Numbers correct. I believe that everyone has received the mission. The mission target is Lin Feng, who rose to fame some time ago. How could a mere metamorphic realm martial artist like him ascend to the divine realm so quickly? Therefore, this is the goal of the mission. As usual, we are not allowed to casually inquire about each other's true identities. We must listen to the leader's orders. After the mission is successful, we are not allowed to snatch the spoils of war privately. Is everyone clear? The one who spoke was the mysterious person who was number 131. He was the temporary leader of this mission. Of course we know. We are all martial artists with status and authority, who oversee a region. We all know the severity of the consequences if our identities are exposed. The others nodded in agreement as well. They were all metadivine martial artists in real life, who had high statuses and usually presided over a region. They were admired by countless martial artists, and viewed as heroes of humanity by countless people. However, this was only what was on the surface. In private, They had all joined the dark organization called Night Devil. The Night Devil organization was very secretive. No one knew where its headquarters were or how many members it had, let alone who its founder was. It was like a cancer that thrived within the 5 major factions. Many of the upper echelons of the 5 major factions knew about the existence of the Night Devil, but they were powerless to do anything, and had no way to eliminate it. The 9 sages had even launched a large-scale investigation over this, but it was useless. The Night Devil was still hidden in broad daylight among all martial artists. Be it metadivine martial artists, divine realm martial artists, metamorphic realm martial artists, or even professional martial artists, there were people among them who had joined the Night Devil. These martial artists were usually normal martial artists who fought fiercely with dire beasts to guard the front line for humanity. However, once the Night Devil issued missions, things would be different. Every once in a while, the Night Devil would issue some missions. These missions were either targeted at individuals or certain organizations. Once the missions were issued, those Night Devil members who met the mission requirements could accept the missions and complete the missions together. Hence, every time the Night Devil organized a mission, every Night Devil member would try their best to hide their true identities. None of them knew each other, and they would only gather together for the sake of a mission. No one dared to expose their identities lightly. Once their true identities were exposed, it would almost spell death. The 5 major factions would never let any of the Night Devils off. After completing the mission, Night Devil would send certain rewards for the mission to every Night Devil member who participated in the mission through special channels. For instance, this time, Night Devil had issued a mission to capture Lin Feng, and the mission reward was Lin Feng's secret. When these 5 Night Devil members received the mission, the condition was that they were at least metadivine realm martial artists. Then they would receive comprehensive information on Lin Feng, detailed from childhood to adulthood. Hence, these 5 Night Devil members knew Lin Feng very well. As for what benefits there were for the founder of Night Devil, it was obvious that the founder would be able to obtain the benefits of all the missions. After all, even the mission rewards were distributed by Night Devil. It was not that there were no Night Devil members who tried to spy on the founder of Night Devil, but none of them succeeded. Instead, all of them had their identities as members of Night Devil exposed, and met miserable ends. As the temporary leader of this mission, the Night Devil member who was number 131 was actually just giving simple orders. These people did not necessarily obey him. They were just making do with each other temporarily to complete the mission. I believe everyone has seen Lin Feng's information. He must have obtained some ancient legacy. It doesn't cultivate astral power, but after the second life transition, one would be comparable to a peak divine realm martial artist. None of us know what his trump card is. Don't be careless. Even a lion uses its full strength when hunting a rabbit. We all know that. The temporary leader number 131 nodded. Then, he looked at the time and said, according to Night Devil's intelligence, Lin Feng will be passing through Ox Head Mountain soon. Everyone, get ready. Don't worry. We'll give Lin Feng a huge surprise this time. The 5 Night Devils quickly hid, as if they had never appeared. Ox Head Mountain. In the airship, Lin Feng saw Ox Head Mountain. Normally, he might have stopped to admire the view, but he was not in the mood now. Beep, beep, beep. Suddenly, just as the airship was about to fly over Ox Head Mountain, an alarm sounded. Warning, warning. The airship is locked on by laser weapons. Swish. Lin Feng lifted his head abruptly. 5 dazzling lights shot over from the ground at once. They were terrifying laser weapons. Lin Feng's airship could not defend against 5 laser weapons at all. Lin Feng's gaze was cold. The cabin door of the airship suddenly opened, and he stepped out. Boom! Lin Feng's arm suddenly extended like an octopus as he grabbed forcefully at the 5 lasers. The terrifying lasers instantly exploded on Lin Feng's arm, but Lin Feng did not move in the slightest. His body expanded to 30 meters tall, and was covered in a layer of gray armor as he stood in the void. Only 5 laser weapons could destroy the airship, but they were like tickles to Lin Feng. They were completely useless. Lin Feng was also doing this to protect the airship. He did not want the airship he had purchased at a huge cost to be destroyed just like that. You can come out now. Lin Feng swept his gaze below and stood with his hands behind his back. As expected, as soon as Lin Feng finished speaking, 5 mysterious men in black robes flew up from below. All of them were wearing masks, and their black robes covered their entire bodies, making it impossible to see their appearances clearly. Who are you? People who are here to kill you, of course. However, if you are willing to hand over the ancient civilization legacy you obtained, we can consider sparing you, the temporary leader number 131 said in a hoarse voice. Lin Feng's eyes narrowed slightly as he swept his gaze across the 5 of them. He understood now. These 5 people belonged to the dark factions that the invincible Fist Sage had warned him about. In this world, where light is, their darkness will be also. Even though the 5 major factions controlled the world and the 9 sages suppressed everything, there were still martial artists who walked in the dark to commit immoral acts for their own selfish reasons. But they wanted to intercept him at a time like this? Lin Feng smiled. Killing intent boiled under his calm gaze, erupting like a volcano. Want to know something? Lin Feng laughed, his tone abnormally calm. I have to thank you guys, because I really want to kill someone. Lin Feng's voice grew louder and louder, but in the end, it exploded like thunder. Endless killing intent erupted wildly like a volcano. He needed to vent. The death of his second brother, Lin Hai, had already put Lin Feng on the verge of erupting. Now, he saw that these 5 mysterious martial artists in the dark were actually intercepting him to kill him. His killing intent simply could not be suppressed any longer. Boom! Lin Feng's body suddenly expanded, and a terrible aura surged in all directions. The afterglow of the setting sun shone on the forest like blood. In the blood-red hue of the setting sun, killing intent soared. Attack! Almost immediately, the 5 metadivine realm martial artists unleashed a shocking strike. Boom! 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 After all, they were metadivine realm martial artists. All of them dominated an area. They were the strongest experts apart from the 9 sages, and were only 1 life transition away from becoming sages. Hence, even though they were just a temporary motley crew, with their rich experience, they could still cooperate and unleash terrifying power. This was the case now. Lin Feng was dealt a fatal blow by 5 metadivine realm martial artists in an instant. Devastating astral power wreaked havoc. The astral martial arts utilized by 5 metadivine realm martial artists were incredibly formidable. Lin Feng, who was at the center of the storm, felt as if the surrounding space had distorted all of a sudden. The terrifying force struck Lin Feng and exploded violently like a miniature sun. The 5 metadivine realm martial artists all had apathetic gazes. All of them were very prideful. Asking them to deal with a martial artist at the same time was already making a mountain out of a molehill, let alone deal with a divine realm martial artist with 2 life transitions. There was a huge gap between the divine realm and the metadivine realm. In ancient times, although those of the divine realm were rare, not only did divine realm martial artists exist in every era, there were a certain number of them in every era. In an era where martial arts had flourished, it was rumored that there were hundreds of divine realm martial artists who attacked each other, called the Era of Chaos. It was also known as the 100 Deities Vying. However, be it the Era of Chaos or the Era of 100 Deities, it was a true and recorded era. In that era, the capable and the powerful had emerged in droves. Yet in the end, only 1 transcendent realm martial artist had appeared. In the end, the era of 100 deities was ended by the metadivine realm martial artist. Hence, while ancient divine realm martial artists were high and mighty deities, metadivine realm martial artists were the kings among deities and considered legendary great beings. In fact, it might take centuries for a king of deities to be born. With the eruption of modern technology, not only were there many more metadivine realm martial artists, even sages had unprecedentedly appeared. The all-powerful sages suppressed everything and re-established the modern order. However, this still could not overshadow the glory of a metadivine realm martial artist. Every metadivine realm martial artist was definitely someone at the top of the hierarchy of human society. But now, Lin Feng was attacked by 5 metadivine realm experts, who were equivalent to 5 kings of deities. In ancient times, such power would have been enough to dominate the entire world and create an era. Lin Feng roared at the sky. At this moment he could not hold back at all. The violent astral martial arts transformed into a terrifying force, threatening to annihilate him from all directions. That was true annihilation. Even his cells would disappear directly. It was not that the so-called undying characteristic would not take effect, but that it wouldn't take effect in time before annihilation. If Lin Feng was still the same as he used to be, even if he had undergone a second life transition, without cultivating the combat body, he would still be doomed. But now, he had cultivated the combat body, and his body quickly expanded to a huge body of 100 meters. The defensive advantage of the tidal combat body was vividly displayed. The attacks of the 5 metadivine realm martial artists only caused the tidal combat body to shake slightly, and innumerable cells to be annihilated. However, to Lin Feng's almost infinite cells, this small amount of damage was almost nothing. Could not harm Lin Feng at all. As the dust settled, Lin Feng's extremely fearsome combat body showed clearly in the eyes of the 5 metadivine realm martial artists. He was somehow unscathed from the terrifying strike by the 5 metadivine realm martial artists. Such defense was formidable. However, that was all. None of the 5 metadivine realm martial artists retreated. Instead, they all stared at Lin Feng with burning gazes. Why did they accept Night Devil's mission at such a great risk? Naturally, it was for the secrets on Lin Feng. What secrets did Lin Feng have? Lin Feng had many secrets. He had gone from the first life transition to the second life transition in a year. Now, with just 2 life transitions, he could withstand the attacks of 5 metadivine realm martial artists with 3 life transitions and challenge people of a higher tier. Such a situation was almost unprecedented. In the past, even the most incredible genius would find it very difficult to challenge someone above their tier. But Lin Feng had accomplished it today. This was like discovering a new continent to the 5 metadivine realm martial artists, who were stuck in a bottleneck. Originally, they had thought it was impossible for them to undergo the 4th life transition in this lifetime. However, Lin Feng's appearance now seemed to have opened a new window before their eyes. So, such strength was possible without cultivating astral power? Perhaps by obtaining the secrets on Lin Feng, they could fully understand the mysteries of 4 life transitions and become the 10th sage. Even if the hope was very slim, they were willing to do whatever it took. Die! Lin Feng attacked as well. He suddenly struck out with one arm, completely suppressing his opponent with force. A mighty force tore through the air, emitting a sonic boom. It was as if even the air was compressed to the extreme. Bang! Lin Feng shattered the body of a metadivine realm martial artist with a single strike, but his entire body turned to ashes and dissipated into the void. Ha! Lin Feng frowned. He glanced around. There were still 5 metadivine realm martial artists around him. Then, who was the martial artist he had just killed? Lin Feng, do you know why metadivine realm martial artists can crush divine realm martial artists? You only have brute force, and can never understand the true methods of a metadivine realm martial artist. The temporary leader, the mysterious martial artist number 131, said in a low voice. A disquieting smile appeared on his lips. Buzz, buzz. At the same time, translucent and terrifying dire beasts or some prehistoric and terrifying monsters gradually appeared in front of the 5 metadivine realm martial artists. This was not an illusion. Lin Feng scanned with his mental power and immediately understood. These were the so-called divine warriors condensed from astral power. Go, kill him. The temporary leader, the mysterious martial artist number 131, pointed at Lin Feng casually. Then, a terrifying monster about 10 meters in height in front of him immediately roared and charged towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng frowned slightly. He could sense that this monster did not have any life force. It was only condensed from astral power. Bang! Lin Feng shattered this monster condensed entirely from astral power with a punch. He felt that these monsters were just too weak. Too weak? Is that so? Then how about my divine kingdom? Divine kingdom? Boom! In an instant, the sky seemed to have dimmed. Numerous prehistoric monsters, as if they had come alive from the myths, stared menacingly at Lin Feng. Too weak, Lin Feng still said coldly. Monsters condensed from mere astral power did not even have intelligence. What threat could they pose to him with numbers alone? On the other hand, there was something special about the surrounding astral force field. Even Lin Feng was forcefully pulled into the astral force field. In this astral force field, the astral power of metadivine martial artists seemed infinite. They could even directly absorb the star power in the void and convert it rapidly. As Lin Feng shattered the prehistoric monsters condensed from astral power again and again, the other party did not care at all. Hundreds of monsters continued pouncing towards Lin Feng like moths to a flame. Keep killing. How many can you kill? Almost no astral power is significantly exhausted in my divine kingdom. How many can you kill? The metadivine realm martial artist opposite him laughed loudly. Lin Feng also gradually understood that the so-called divine kingdom was actually this special astral force field. Within this special astral force field, metadivine martial artists could constantly condense astral beasts, which were called divine warriors. These divine warriors were infinite. Even if Lin Feng defeated all of them, it was useless. This was because the defeated monsters were condensed from astral power and dissipated into astral power again. They were confined within the astral force field and reused by the metadivine martial artists. This could form a positive loop. Even if there was some depletion of astral power, a metadivine realm martial artist could just absorb star power and convert it into astral power to make up for this portion of consumed astral power. Once trapped in the divine kingdom, there was no way to escape without breaking the astral force field. This was the true reason why metadivine martial artists were known as the kings of deities. Once metadivine martial artists deployed the divine kingdom, even dozens of divine realm martial artists would face certain death if trapped. Previously, Lin Feng was only a metamorphic realm martial artist. His achievements in martial arts were nothing great. It was already very impressive that he knew about divine realm methods. As for the metadivine realm, he had never even seen it before. How could he understand the various methods of metadivine realm martial artists? Now, Lin Feng finally understood how powerful metadivine martial artists were. With just the divine kingdom alone, metadivine martial artists were already above divine realm martial artists. There was an insurmountable gap between the two. Boom! At this moment, Lin Feng seemed to be in the depths of the dark cosmos. Meteors fell one after another from the vast cosmos, like a meteor shower. However, the whistling might that came with them probably meant certain death once one failed to withstand it. After all, those meteors were also constructed of astral power. Lin Feng knew that the second metadivine martial artist had attacked. He deployed his divine kingdom and pulled Lin Feng into another astral force field. Kingdom of Wilderness. Stellar World. These were only two divine kingdoms and two astral force fields, yet they actually made Lin Feng feel a hint of pressure. They were indeed worthy of metadivine realm martial artists, powerful life forms with 3 life transitions. Although martial arts were not worth mentioning at all in Longbetham's eyes, and were even a cultivation system that had gone astray, there was naturally a reason why martial arts could exist for so long and create the foundation for the 9th civilization of the long-standing humanity. This divine kingdom was not bad. Using massive astral power, it weaved astral force fields. This method was simply miraculous. It amazed even Lin Feng, who had cultivated the combat body and entered the cosmic cultivation system. The Kingdom of Wilderness and the Stellar World, 2 divine kingdoms which descended as 2 force fields, could already ensnare Lin Feng. Although they could not injure Lin Feng for the time being, the outcome as time went on already appeared predictable, especially when there were still 3 metadivine realm martial artists who had not attacked. Blizzard World, Eternal Purgatory, Void World. The remaining 3 metadivine realm martial artists did not disappoint Lin Feng. 5 types of divine kingdom in the form of 5 astral force fields were superimposed on Lin Feng's body at the same time. For a moment, the pressure on Lin Feng increased several-fold. These were what true metadivine realm martial artists were like. They had already broken away from the mode of relying on the eruption of astral power and studied astral power to another level. The force field of the Kingdom of Wilderness allowed Lin Feng to see all kinds of prehistoric monsters. They were all fearsome monsters that had already become extinct. Although they were condensed from astral power, they made one feel as if they were in a true prehistoric wilderness. The stellar world was even more terrifying. Pulled Lin Feng into a starry cosmos. The starry cosmos was the universe. Then, cosmic disasters were created one after another in the terrible astral force field. In this divine kingdom, the most terrifying cosmic disaster was undoubtedly the meteor shower. Meteors fell one after another, making Lin Feng feel as if he was in the midst of an apocalypse. There was also the blizzard world. There was a vast expanse of white snow everywhere. Terrifying snow monsters appeared, and even snow mountains collapsed, creating terrifying avalanches. The eternal purgatory was a strange and distorted force field. All kinds of mythical evil spirits could affect people's emotions. Even Lin Feng, who had condensed a mental power sphere, would still be affected to a certain extent. What was even more bizarre was the void world. It was an expanse of nothingness. Within this strange force field, Lin Feng was alone. No matter where he went, there was nothing. The mental torment was almost more terrifying than any torture. 5 divine kingdoms and 5 force fields. Lin Feng had seen how daunting metadivine realm martial artists were, and that martial arts were not as weak as he had imagined, let alone the trash that Longbetham claimed it was. Martial arts was a path of cultivation and evolution that humans had explored for countless years based on themselves, before finally formulating a system. The 5 metadivine martial artists felt that victory was already in their grasp. They were 5 distinguished metadivine martial artists, and their divine kingdoms were not ordinary divine kingdoms either. They were all outstanding in their respective fields. Although there was a possibility of their identities being exposed once they utilized the divine kingdom, they would do anything for the secret of Lin Feng. 5 divine kingdoms. Do you think you can still keep your identity? Lin Feng was not stupid. When he saw the 5 metadivine martial artists use their respective divine kingdoms, he knew that they were planning to stake everything on this. After all, metadivine martial artists were rather rare, and divine kingdoms were unique. Basically, every metadivine martial artist's divine kingdom was different. As long as Lin Feng did not die, he would be able to find out the identities of these 5 metadivine realm martial artists based on the 5 divine kingdoms in the future. Once their identities were exposed, even 5 metadivine realm martial artists would face certain death. Lin Feng, do you think you can still get out of this alive? You must die after seeing our divine kingdoms. We originally wanted to spare your life, but from the looks of it, you can't be allowed to live anymore. We'll kill you and search your body. Your secret can't stay hidden. The voices of the 5 metadivine realm martial artists came from all directions. With the superimposition of the 5 force fields, even Lin Feng's thoughts were affected to a certain extent. However, that was all. How could these force fields injure Lin Feng? Even if Lin Feng stood here and deployed the tidal combat body without moving, these 5 metadivine realm martial artists could not kill Lin Feng. The tidal combat body was a combat body that excelled in defense in the cosmic cultivation system. How formidable was it? Only 5 force fields and 5 divine kingdoms. Do you think I can't break them? Lin Feng took a deep breath, and his 100-meter tall body actually expanded again. Boom! In the blink of an eye, Lin Feng's combat body had expanded to 200 meters. This was the first time Lin Feng had unleashed his full strength and appeared in front of people with this massive combat body. Absorb! Lin Feng opened his mouth wide. His mouth seemed to have turned into a black hole all of a sudden. The 5 force fields, 5 divine kingdoms, and all kinds of monsters, meteors, ice, spirits, and so on were all swallowed by Lin Feng. To him, be it spirits or monsters, as long as they were condensed from astral power, they were the most delectable delicacies in the world. He could swallow them in one gulp. Boom! Lin Feng seemed to have transformed into a black hole that devoured everything. Energy. All this astral power was energy. Everything in the divine kingdom was made of astral power. Be it the divine warriors or the astral force field, without astral power, they were nothing. To other martial artists, perhaps this was the most terrifying thing. Being in the middle of 5 astral fields meant certain death. Even a metadivine realm martial artist would not be able to escape their doom. However, for Lin Feng, no matter how strong the astral force field was, as long as it could not destroy his combat body in an instant, he had nothing to fear. On the contrary, these astral fields were even the energy he wanted to devour the most. As Lin Feng opened his mouth, his body emitted an endless suction force, constantly pulling in all the surrounding astral power. Those monsters, meteors, ice, evil spirits, and so on were all transformed into energy and devoured by Lin Feng in one gulp. As for the astral force field, without astral power, how could it still be called a force field? Lin Feng's combat body was originally just 200 meters tall, but the combat body could still be cultivated. Although it might not improve by much in the end, as long as there was enough energy, it could be improved by some degree. For instance, as he devoured such a massive amount of energy, Lin Feng's original 200-meter-tall combat body began to expand in an instant. 201 meters, 202 meters, 203 meters. Seeing that Lin Feng was constantly devouring astral power, and that his daunting body was actually still expanding and emitting a terrifying aura, the laughter of the 5 metadivine realm martial artists came to an abrupt halt. Even the expressions on their unseen faces were probably frozen now. That was 5 divine kingdoms and 5 astral force fields. Apart from sages, they could not think of anyone else who could contend against the 5 divine kingdoms. However, was Lin Feng a sage? They shook their heads immediately. Even they themselves did not believe that Lin Feng was a sage. The difference between a second life transition and a fourth life transition was too great. It was impossible for them not to see that Lin Feng had indeed only experienced his second life transition. However, the cultivation technique that Lin Feng practiced was just too bizarre. He had actually devoured all the astral power they had used to set up their divine kingdom in one gulp. To them, such a situation was practically unheard of. Even divine kingdoms could be devoured? Even though they were experienced and knowledgeable metadivine martial artists, kings of deities, and great beings who could create eras, they were still dumbfounded and shocked to the extreme. This is bad. He can devour astral power. Not only are our divine kingdoms no threat to him, they're helping him to increase his strength massively. The temporary leader and mysterious martial artist number 131 said in a low voice. Even his voice was no longer so calm, but carried a trace of panic. Lin Feng's body had expanded to 200 meters in an instant. Then, he transformed into a black hole and devoured their astral power in a frenzy, almost devouring all 5 astral force fields and 5 divine kingdoms. Moreover, his body kept expanding. Even a fool would know that Lin Feng's strength was improving. Finally, Lin Feng's body expanded to 204 meters before slowly stopping. His 204-meter body had only increased by 4 meters. It was actually not of much help to Lin Feng's strength. The divine kingdoms of the 5 metadivine martial artists only contributed 4 meters worth of energy for Lin Feng's tidal combat body. According to this ratio, Lin Feng's 200-meter tidal combat body was almost equivalent to 250 metadivine martial artists. There were barely 100 of metadivine realm martial artists in this world, never mind 250. In other words, even if Lin Feng devoured all the divine kingdoms of all the metadivine martial artists in the world, he still would not be able to cultivate the 200-meter tidal combat body. For the first time, Lin Feng had a direct understanding of just how much energy was needed for the tidal combat body. After all, from devouring the energy modules in the energy factory, Lin Feng could only tell that there was a lot of energy, but he did not have a direct understanding of how much exactly. Now, Lin Feng had a very clear and intuitive understanding. If cultivating the combat body after the second life transition required devouring so much energy, what about the third life transitions? Or even the fourth? Lin Feng finally understood why Longbetham placed so much emphasis on energy. Retreat! Retreat now! The 5 metadivine realm martial artists made a prompt decision and immediately fled in 5 different directions. They knew very well that their divine kingdoms were already their strongest resort. However, now, not only were their divine kingdoms useless, they appeared to be delivering supplements to Lin Feng. How could they still fight like this? No matter how big Lin Feng's secret was, they could only retreat for the time being now. There was only hope in the future if they saved themselves now. Trying to run? Lin Feng took a deep breath. The 5 metadivine realm martial artists had already flown hundreds of meters away. There were still 5 airships waiting for them. Once they entered the airships, they could use the speed of the airships to escape. However, Lin Feng's killing intent was torrential now. He only glanced coldly at the 5 of them. Did they think that he could do nothing just because they scattered and fled? Transform! Without any hesitation, Lin Feng's entire combat body shook slightly. Then 3 more arms appeared on his body at once. 3 arms quickly grew out of his back. Although Lin Feng did not ponder over the cells of certain dire beasts, he could change the arrangement of his cells and grow a few more arms with ease. He could be considered a being with innumerable forms. With just a thought to change the arrangement of cells, forget about 3 more arms, even having 30 more arms would be nothing. Swoosh! Lin Feng was also extremely fast. Almost immediately, the 5 arms grabbed towards the 5 metadivine realm martial artists. His 5 arms instantly extended by hundreds of meters, and his palms became incomparably huge. He slammed them down from behind with a terrifying force. Even the 5 metadivine realm martial artists felt a chill run down their spines. They felt that they had really made the wrong choice in this endeavor. Why did they risk their lives for that minuscule hope and the secret of Lin Feng? Bang! One of Lin Feng's arms instantly grabbed 2 metadivine martial artists. These 2 metadivine martial artists were slightly slower. When they were grabbed by Lin Feng, they did not even have the strength to resist. They were swatted to death by Lin Feng like flies. 2 metadivine realm martial artists died just like that. Seeing Lin Feng kill 2 metadivine realm martial artists so casually, the remaining 3 metadivine realm martial artists were all somewhat frightened. Since when were metadivine martial artists so fragile? Hence, the 3 martial artists tried even harder to escape. They were luckier and rushed into the airships immediately. The airships began to transform into a stream of light and charged towards the horizon. Humph! Lin Feng's gaze sharpened. His 3 arms instantly extended again, growing to more than 1,000 meters. Moreover, his palms expanded rapidly with a shadowy mass like a dark cloud, even larger than the airship. Lin Feng's 3 huge palms slammed down towards the 3 airships. In the airships, the eyes of the 3 metadivine realm martial artists were filled with despair and shock. Boom! The 3 airships were instantly shattered by Lin Feng's huge palm. Amidst the fumes and blazes that filled the sky, the 3 metadivine realm martial artists charged out like a stream of light. However, Lin Feng's huge palm closed gently, and they were easily caught in his hand like mosquitoes. Lin Feng's gaze was sharp as a blade as he stared coldly at the 3 metadivine realm martial artists in his hands. No matter what power they unleashed, it was useless. His tidal combat body excelled most at defense. Once he caught them, it would be almost impossible for them to escape. Lin Feng grabbed with his giant hand, and the masks on the heads of the 3 metadivine realm martial artists fell off, revealing their true faces. 2 of the martial artists were strangers to Lin Feng. However, the moment Lin Feng removed the mask of the 3rd one, the mysterious martial artist number 131, Lin Feng's gaze suddenly sharpened. Sunfall King. That's right, it was the Sunfall King. Even Lin Feng knew this face. Among metadivine martial artists, there was a category of special martial artists. Not only were they powerful, they frequently made great contributions to humanity. Eventually, they were bestowed a title. For example, this metadivine martial artist in front of him was a martial artist with a title, and his title was the Sunfall King. This Sunfall King had become famous very early on, but what really made his fame was the War of Sunfall Mountain 30 years ago. At that time, humanity was facing the surge of a terrifying type of dire beast predators. Once they broke through the defense line of Sunfall Mountain, they might cause a devastating blow to the human cities at the home front. The situation back then was much worse than the crisis in Dragonlith City. The 9 sages were all tied down and could not spare any time to offer aid. Even the other metadivine realm martial artists could not provide reinforcements in time. Once those predators charged through the defense line of the Sunfall Mountain, they would meet with no obstructions. There were human cities everywhere. That kind of loss would be far too heavy. However, the Sunfall King was the one overseeing the defense line at Sunfall Mountain back then. The Sunfall King personally led the troops and fought on for 3 days, fighting 7 demon kings alone. These demon kings were all comparable to metadivine martial artists who had undergone 3 life transitions. Normally, in a one-on-one battle, even ordinary metadivine martial artists might not be able to gain the upper hand, let alone against 7 of them. However, relying on the divine kingdom of wilderness, the Sunfall King condensed all kinds of savage monsters with astral power. A terrifying astral force field enveloped the 7 demon kings. In the end, the Sunfall King slew the 7 demon kings and led the martial artists of Sunfall Mountains to defeat the dire beast predators. That was the battle for which the Sunfall King was conferred his title. The Sunfall King saved hundreds of millions of humans and countless cities. Having made the greatest contribution, he was conferred the title of Sunfall King. He was also awarded the Hero of Humanity medal. There were very few metadivine martial artists who could be conferred the title of king. The legendary deeds of the Sunfall King were lauded by many martial artists. Even the 9 sages had high praises for the Sunfall King. Yet the Sunfall King had actually become corrupted in the present. For his selfish purposes, he had come to intercept and kill Lin Feng. How could he be worthy of the title of Sunfall King with such actions? Sunfall King, who sent you? Lin Feng asked coldly. They could even dispatch the Sunfall King. This faction was indeed terrifyingly powerful. Who could command the Sunfall King but a sage? Could it be a sage? For a moment, many thoughts flashed through Lin Feng's mind. The Sunfall King's face was pale. Although his identity had already been exposed when he used the Divine Kingdom, he was still deeply ashamed to be exposed and questioned in person. In normal circumstances, he was the prestigious and revered Sunfall King, in charge of the defense line of Sunfall Mountain. He was in a position of great authority and dominated over a region. Even the 9 sages were respectful towards him. Be it money, power, status, or even reputation, the Sunfall King had it all. The only thing he pursued now was martial arts. However, martial arts was exactly what that drove the Sunfall King almost insane. He could not find the way to undergo for life transitions. He tried many methods, but none of them worked. In his despair, he came into contact with the Night Devil organization. This kind of dark organization that walked entirely in the shadows and even had little restraint seemed to have invigorated the Sunfall King's heart once more. From then on, with his mask on, the Sunfall King was a ruthless member of the Night Devil organization. With his mask off, he was the legendary hero Sunfall King that everyone looked up to. The mere presence of a mask caused a dignified metadivine realm martial artist to fall this state. Perhaps it was not just the mask, but the other side of the Sunfall King's heart. The Sunfall King glanced at Lin Feng. He just could not figure it out. There were 5 metadivine martial artists, and he was even a martial artist with the title of king. He had once fought 7 demon kings alone. How could he be completely crushed by Lin Feng without any power to resist? It had to be known that Lin Feng had only undergone a second life transition, which was only equivalent to a divine realm martial artist. Lin Feng, you've won. Since you already know my identity, do you think anyone can order me around? What a joke. How can I, a dignified expert with the title of king, be ordered around? There's no harm in telling you. I joined the Night Devil organization. At this point, the Sunfall King could no longer be bothered to hide it. Hearing the Sunfall King's simple explanation of the Night Devil organization, Lin Feng's gaze became colder and colder. A storm brewed in his heart. Although where light is, there darkness will be also. A terrible organization like the Night Devil was something he had never even imagined before. This was what the Sunfall King had become behind a mask. The other 4 metadivine realm martial artists were also famed. Normally, They guarded a region and contributed greatly to humanity. Yet, after joining the Night Devil and putting on a mask, why had they become so ghastly and fiendish? Night Devil? Lin Feng muttered in a low voice. His killing intent was already soaring. Now that he had heard about an organization like the Night Devil, they were simply a cancer of human society. Even the 9 sages could not do anything about it. This was enough to show how terrible this Night Devil organization was. Lin Feng, no matter what, I'm the Sunfall King, a meta-divine realm martial artist. Moreover, I have made great contributions to humanity. Even though I'm a member of the Night Devil organization, my contributions offset my mistakes. You should let me go. The Sunfall King appeared very calm now. He also wanted to live. With his status, even if he was discovered to be a member of the Night Devil, at most, his Hero of Humanity medal would be revoked and he would be sent to the martial artist court. However, he definitely would not die. He had made great contributions. He was once a hero of humanity. That was enough. Is that so? You were once a hero of humanity. You once made great contributions to humanity. But what does that have to do with me? I just want to kill someone now. Lin Feng's cold gaze made the Sunfall King feel as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. His former great contributions, his past as the hero of humanity and prestigious status, why was none of it working now? He really saw death in Lin Feng's eyes. Lin Feng really wanted to kill him. No, you can't kill me. Hand me over to the 5 major factions and send me to the martial artist court. The Sunfall King finally felt afraid. It was as if his former glory could no longer offer him any sense of security at this moment. Bang! Lin Feng squeezed hard, and the 3 meta-divine realm martial artists were instantly crushed, turning into a bloody mist. So what if he was a meta-divine martial artist? So what if he was once a hero of humanity? So what if he had once made great contributions to humanity? Lin Feng's killing intent soared. The Sunfall King had crossed him. How could he let it go? Moreover, Lin Feng only wanted to kill now.